Hi everyone, my name is Jillayne Hunter. I'm here with Huntress Yoga. We are a new YouTube channel, so this is the first video we'll be posting. So Huntress Yoga is my sister and I, Chelsea Hunter, and myself, Jillayne Hunter. And we also have Huntress Astrology. My sister Chelsea is an incredible astrologer. So make sure you subscribe to our channels, and we're going to be dropping some knowledge for you. And today I'm really excited about the session we're going to be doing together. It's a topic I've been really inspired and passionate about, as well as my teachers and fellow practitioners. And it's something I'm excited to share with you. So today we're going to be talking about the lungs, the ribs, the diaphragm, and most importantly, the thymus. So first I'm going to get you set up into a pose, and then I'll go into all the details. All right, so we're gonna start in an easy cross-legged position, Siddhasana. So let's start with the left leg in front. And so a lot of times in Siddhasana, that left leg will be tucked up underneath. So we're actually gonna pull the left leg out, and this is gonna help to open up the hips. You're gonna use both of your hands, grab onto the upper inner thigh, and then make an internal rotation. So that means you're gonna bring the upper inner thigh skin back towards the sit bone, and then the flesh that's under the buttocks, you're gonna pull that back as well. And so I like using both hands on both thighs. So when you're done with this adjustment, the ideal and the hope, the goal is to be sitting directly on top of the sits bone. So if here you imagine your buttocks bones, we actually want to be on the front inner edge, and this is going to help to free up the spine. If this is really difficult for you to do sitting on the ground, you can grab a blanket, too, a block, a bolster, anything that you have at home. You could grab a phone book and that could work, or a pillow. So sometimes it helps to prop yourself up a little bit, and this can also help to free the spine. If you don't need any support today, that is also great. If you have any questions on how you can modify, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will help you as best I can. All right, so here we are in Siddhasana. So you're gonna get your fingertips. So first, before I go into the upper arms, we're up on the sits bones. And you wanna feel a sensation like your spine is able to elongate. So basically what I'm saying is that I'm asking you to try to prevent being on the back of the buttocks and the back of the sits bones to where the back is rounded. Sometimes it even helps to sit up against a wall, and pressing the back up against the wall can help to accomplish this extension of the spine. All right, so we're gonna take our fingertips and we're gonna place them behind us. So the fingers are spread, and the elbows, with the fingertips planted in the earth, the elbows are gonna be moving away from one another. Good. We're going to start with a very gentle and simple pranayama exercise, and that's going to be inhaling up the front body, pausing at the crown of the head, and then exhaling down the back body without any breath retention at the bottom of the exhale, and then looping it right back around. So inhaling up the front body. So this is going to lengthen the front of the spine. It's going to start to bring some life and energy up into the upper lungs, upper ribs, sternum, thymus. And then keep that inhale going all the way to the crown of the head. Pause for as long as you feel comfortable. I would say 2 to 3 moments, allowing the exhale to fully flood down the back of the spine. All right. So with the elbows gently moving away, we're starting to open up the lungs and starting to open up the ribs. And what can happen a lot of times when we open up the ribs is that all of the attention comes to the front body, And the back, the scapula and the back ribs actually start to compress and start to fold in on themselves. And so we're actually looking to expand both the back body and the front body. So if you were to draw a line from the midpoint of your sternum to, say, the seam on the side of your shirt, I don't think my shirt has a seam, but the seam right there, you'd pause. And then again, if you were to draw a line starting at this point in between your scapulas to that seam, so we're broadening both the front body, broadening the back body, broadening the front body, broadening the back body. So the ribs are actually expanding side to side. So instead of this forceful opening here, we're seeing if we can get the ribs to broaden and to widen. Good. Remember the pranayama exercise, inhaling up the front body, exhaling down. And with this, you're gonna feel more of an emphasis on the front body, and that's okay because we are going to reverse it. So don't worry about that. Again, the elbows are gently moving away. So keep bringing the ribs back into the spine, and then the spine back into the back ribs, right? Again, avoiding the splaying out. I've heard it be described as if there was a corset right here in between your front ribs, or say a needle and thread, you'd be stitching them together. So we're avoiding the action of going front to back and seeing if we can instead move side to side. So while you all are working on that, I'm going to talk about the thymus for a little bit. So the thymus is an organ that lives right in behind the upper sternum. And I've wondered at times, this iconography that you see a lot of times with the heart and then the flame that's above the heart, sometimes I think that could be a reference to the thymus. The thymus is actually an incredibly important and sometimes overlooked organ in the body. So it's part of the immune system, and it's responsible for producing T cells in the body, which helps to fight off any virus, bacteria, anything that's invading the system and creating an attack on the system. So we have red blood cells in the bone marrow, and those get transported to the thymus. And then due to a vibration of the thymus turns them into white blood cells and then into T lymphocytes, T cells. So it goes through this incredible process of transformation, our blood cells, and then the thymus releases those T cells, and those T cells live in our body to fight, again, any virus, bacteria, or any kind of infection that's happening. And what's incredibly interesting about the thymus is that it starts to atrophy around puberty. And so the production of T cells greatly decreases, if not completely stops. So the body produces enough T cells, hopefully, that it will need for the entire lifespan of the human between when you're born and when you hit puberty. Well, a lot of us could use a little extra support, and with everything going on in our world, it's incredibly important to have a really healthy and robust immune system. So the thymus is greatly important, and we're going to focus on revitalizing it today. And so one of the things that will help support the thymus is creating this space in the lungs, creating this space in the rib cage so that we can get more oxygen and more blood flow and more circulation happening in this area. Anytime there's stagnant or dormant energy in the body, that's when disease can start to take seat and fester. And that's what we're trying to avoid, and that's what we are avoiding by keeping the circulation happening. So a lot of this session today is going to be focusing on opening up the ribs and opening up the lungs, getting breath up into the upper sternum and up into the upper ribs. And it's actually a place that a lot of times we don't think to bring the breath all the way up to. A lot of times we think, get a deep breath and the lungs will expand, or get a deep breath and the belly expands. But I'm curious if any of you have ever thought to take your breath all the way up into the upper lungs, all the way up into the sternum, or up into the thymus. So if you haven't, I'm glad you're practicing with me today, and we'll get a chance to engage in that, and then you can do it some more on your own. All right, so continuing with a gentle pressure on the tip of your fingers, the elbows gently moving away from one another. We also want to make sure that we tuck the chin slightly, and then lift from the crown of our head. So from the crown of our head to the tip of the tailbone, we're finding more length. It's like, I sometimes imagine a string that isn't very taut. And then slowly with the extension, the crown of the head keeps moving away from the tip of the tailbone keeps moving away from the crown of the head. It slowly begins to straighten out. And the string just continues to grow. It's an ever-growing string. It's not limited. All right, so now we're going to actually reverse the pranayama. So before we were inhaling up the front body, pausing at the crown of the head, exhaling down the back body. We're going to switch it. So now we're going to inhale up the front body. Inhale up the back body. And this is going to create this broadening in the back ribs that I was talking about. So inhaling up, and again, this is where the tuck of the chin and the extension from the crown of the head is going to be really useful. And then exhaling, waterfalling the energy down the front of the body. Hands, fingertips are still in the same position. So with the tucking of the chin, we're looking for a straight line all the way down the spine. I had a teacher who would often say, anytime there's a zigzag in the body, there's a break of energy. And so we want to eliminate the zigzags out of the body. And so I've noticed that when we talk about the spine lengthening and straightening, the cervical spine is rarely included in that. And so of course, the cervical spine is connected. So we do want to bring the front of the throat to the back of the throat. Chin comes down, chin and forehead should be parallel. And then we start to find this length, right? So the head should be really soft and light, even though the head is quite heavy. We want the skull to just have a sense of floating on the top of the spine. Remembering to keep your weight directly over your sits bones. There was a moment when I was told the secret to yoga, and I giggle a little bit at that comment because yoga is such a vast subject. There are many secrets. This is a very dear teacher to me, an elder, and her secret to yoga, which I respect because she's well into her 80s, was to create more length and space between each vertebrae and each disc. And not only space above and below, but space to the left and to the right, space in front and behind. So we do this sort of body scanning, right? So we're seeing if we can dissect and take a microscope into our bodies, and this is going to show us perhaps where there's an old injury that needs some healing, or where there's a blockage of energy, where there's a huge flow of energy, where you may feel some numbness or a disconnect. And so the more you practice with me, the more you will realize I really enjoy indulging in long timings, because I like this aspect of, in yoga and Sanskrit, they call it Ishvara Pranidhana, which is self-study. And not to say that you can't self-study with a quicker practice, absolutely. But if you're new to yoga, or even if you're not new to yoga, it's a luxury, and it's really a gift that we give ourselves when we slow down, and slow down enough to feel what's happening inside. So I hope you're discovering some aspects of yourself during this. All the while growing the spine, creating more space between the ribs and the pelvis, creating length in the side waist. We'll be here for just a few more moments. So the thymus, it's also a gland, so it is part of the endocrine system. It has glandular tissue in it, so it also produces hormones, another interesting aspect of it. A lot of times it's referred to as a thymus gland. However, it is an organ and is primarily part of the immune system. Energetically speaking, it's known as the happiness point, and it is known to neutralize negative energy, create calmness in the body, and of course boost the immune system. So from here, keeping the length of the spine, we're going to stop with the pranayama and just return to normal breathing, and notice if your breath feels fuller, if you feel a little bit tired. Just take note of how you feel. Keeping the length of the spine, we're going to release the arms, palms facing up, inviting some softness. And let's go ahead and switch. So now we're going to bring the right leg in front. If you need to adjust the buttocks or the sits bones, go ahead and do so. And so to revitalize the thymus and to get it producing T cells again, which we can, and it will start to produce again the amazing resilience of the body. With a little bit of attention, things will start to come to life and heal themselves and grow. So it's this practice called thumping, thymus thumping, and you may be familiar with the exercise of tapping, but this is specific to the thymus, so thymus thumping. So as we're going to take our middle finger and our index finger, and you can choose right or left hand, whatever feels more comfortable to you, and we're going to tap the top of our sternum for about a minute. And you can explore some of these areas. So the sternum here, it's the breastbone, and the thymus is right behind that. Notice if there's some soreness there. And again, you can experiment with pressure. So maybe you want to thump pretty hard and be like, yeah, thymus, come on. I just switched my fingers to my middle and my ring and felt like I had a better pressure. So this is where you play around and you see what works for you. See if you can create a steady rhythm. And while you're doing so, continue to allow the breath to come up and underneath your fingers. So it's as if your breath was like a wave, right? And that wave, so you're still thumping, that wave was coming up underneath behind the sternum and pressing the sternum forward. Go ahead and then slowly begin to decrease the pressure. Slow the rhythm down. Until you come to a stop. down, palm facing up. Taking a breath to notice any change, any difference in sensation that you feel. So again, I'm going to put you in a pose and then I'll talk some things through with you. All right, we're going to extend the arms out. Allow the fingernails to tap the earth. So we're going to work into some twists. And even here, the moment that I do this, I can feel that my scapulas are pressing into my spine. And normally that would be okay because in yoga, we're generally always looking to open the chest, right? Unless we're doing a bind. Opening the chest is a huge part of yogasana. You're going to find this in a lot of the poses. However, today, again, remembering this action of opening from the back to the side body, to the front, to the side body. So as much as you expand into the front of the chest, see if you can expand into the back of the chest too. So when we start by extending the arms out and the chest starts to open, the tips of the scapula start to extend down and in towards the spine, normally what we would want, can you puff up the kidneys? Can you breathe into the back of the lungs? Can you breathe into the back of the ribs? And what's incredible about this to me is that I actually start to find more length and height in my spine. And when I start to breathe into my back body, naturally, my abdominal muscles start to tonify. So I can feel this broadening of the back body. And I had a teacher once who talked a lot about the back body being like a cave. And so we're existing inside of this cave, right? And this whole action of namaskar, bringing the arms around, bowing, right? So we really want to imagine that your whole back body was the back wall to a cave. But again, we're not going to go so far as to collapse the front of the chest. So using the body as a metaphor here, we're going to keep the front and the back equal. So we're just going to make this a giant, beautiful cave for us to exist in. So this is our body, this is our vehicle, this is our home. This is what we come into the world with, this is what we leave the world with. So we're going to do our best to honor it and to keep it healthy and spacious. All right, so the arms are extended out, palms are going to face up, and then release the thumb away from the forefingers. Keep extending. Inhale, the arms are going to come up. Pause when the hands are parallel to the shoulders. Keep extending as much as possible, and again, doing your best to avoid this action. And just keep extending, imagining that two people were pulling on each wrist and that your arms were growing, 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 growing. The longer the limbs, the longer the spine. Now you're going to start to rotate at the wrists, and that action is going to travel all the way up to the shoulders. So the palms are going to face behind you. The thumbs are moving down towards the earth. Extend out through the pinky finger. Remembering to breathe up into the upper lungs, upper chest, upper sternum, revitalizing the thymus, increasing our immune system. So anytime you want to engage in a yoga practice for the immune system, think about opening the front of the chest and the back of the chest equally. All right, thumbs down. Keep extending through the pinkies, and then inhale, the arms are going to come up. Keep extending the arms up, and if the shoulders start to lift up to the ears, let that happen. We will drop the shoulders by externally rotating them in a bit, but sometimes to get the length, we want to allow the fingertips to keep moving away, 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 away. So the hips are moving down, sits bones grounding into the earth. Upper body, rib cage, is moving away from the pelvis, creating as much length in the side body as possible, creating space for all of our vital organs. Inhale, extend the arms up. Keep looking at me. We're going to twist to the right. And you're going to twist, seeing if you can make the primary action happen from the ribs, not the shoulder and not the head. So we're going to start to work the ribs a little bit. This may feel like a challenge, and it's supposed to be challenging. So keep looking at me. Inhale, find extension. Exhale, deepen in your twist. Inhale, find extension. Exhale, deepen in the twist. Already I feel my ribs working like crazy. Inhale, find extension. Exhale, deepen. Last one. Inhale, find extension. Exhale, you're going to lower the arms down. Left hand in front, right arm behind on the fingertips like before. The navel moves into the spine, and keep the chin in alignment with the sternum. So you're seeing if you can get your left rib cage, the back rib, to wrap around and to help increase that twist. The right ribs are gonna naturally, you're gonna feel that extension in the right side of the body. Can you move the right ribs into the spine and lengthen the back body on the left side? Lengthen the back of the ribs. On your next breath, you're going to allow the head to turn over the right shoulder, finishing with the eyes. To complete the twist in its entirety, you can close the right eye and then shoot energy out the left eye. So when we twist, we see if we can work all the way from the base of the spine up through the entirety of the spine until it gets up to the skull, the head, and the last thing will be the eyes. If you're good here, keeping the chin in alignment with the sternum, working subtly but thoroughly, feel free to stay here as well. Even here, the breath is going to be a little bit more restricted. Right? Can you bring the breath up into the upper lungs, up into the sternum? So on the inhales, we find space. On the exhales, we find depth. And we see if we can resist the urge to ever settle for a completion point. So we can always go a little bit deeper, even if we're working on the energetic plane. And even with the physical plane, perhaps I can't see you twisting more and more, but you are. Perhaps you can't see yourself twisting more and more, but little by little by little, the action is being completed. Last breath. Good, extend the arms out. The arms are going to come up. Extend the arms up to the ceiling. Keeping the extension of the spine, we come back to neutral. Ooh, you're probably going to feel that. Inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, slowly extend the arms all the way down. Fingertips tap the earth. Lengthen the limbs to lengthen the spine. So whatever your tendency is, if it's to be concave in the chest or to flex the chest, I guess this would be converse, concave. See if you can come back to that midpoint, right? And it might be a little bit like a seesaw. So you might feel like you're overextending in one area, compressing in the other, and see if you can balance that out. So for me, I know it's bringing my ribs into my back body. Good. So again, let's switch the cross. So we're also opening up the hips here. If you didn't notice, you're probably feeling it. Adjust as necessary. Extend the arms out, fingertips on the earth. Navel moves into the spine. Bringing the breath all the way up, seeing if you can puff up this space right underneath the clavicles. And let's actually bring our fingertips up to that area. Can we take 3 breaths here? And can you feel the skin? So there's going to be, usually there's a little bit of a divot here. Can you feel that start to puff up? Can you bring the breath up right underneath your fingers? And it's as if the breath is pressing your fingers away from the body. I don't know about you, but the act of bringing the breath up out of the belly immediately lengthens my spine. So I'm already feeling so much space, which is so lovely to defy gravity in this way. Extending the arms out, fingertips on the earth. Inhale. We're going to pause when the hands are parallel to the shoulders. Extend, extend, extend out as much as possible. And then now you're going to start at the wrist, rotating the palms to face behind you. Thumbs start to move down towards earth. Extend out through the pinky finger. Engage the triceps. Hug the triceps in towards the humerus bone. Inhale, the arms are going to come up. Extend, extend. So I didn't touch on this before, but when I said allow the shoulders to lift, we don't want the shoulders to stay crunched up by the ear. So if you want to find as much space as possible by moving the fingertips as far away from the earth as you possibly can, and then you're going to externally rotate the shoulders, and that's going to drop the shoulders down but keep the length of the spine. So more and more we're finding this space, moving the ribs away from the pelvis. Palms face behind you and thumbs start to move away from you. You may notice that when you drop the shoulders down, find that external rotation of the shoulders. You're going to find a lot of space here in the inner shoulder, and you're also going to feel that broadening happening between the scapulas, which is a really nice feeling, and it's accomplishing what we're targeting tonight, which is not only finding space in the front of the lungs, but finding space in the back of the lungs. Inhale, extend the fingertips up. Keep looking at me. Exhale, we're going to twist to the left. See if you can keep the weight equal on both sits bones. Keep looking at me. Inhale, extend the fingertips up. Exhale, twist. So here we're using the rib cage. Use the rib cage, resisting the urge to use the shoulders and the head. Inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, we're going to lower the arms down. Now the chin's going to come in alignment with the sternum. We're up onto the fingertips. And you can use this to find a little bit more of a twist. So it's like you're using the resistance of the earth to create a bit more depth. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, find more depth in the twist. Wringing out the organs. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, finding more depth. So keeping on with the twist. So I've read that approximately 70% of all disease starts in the intestines. So twists they not only lengthen the spine, but they also wring out all of our vital organs. So anytime that you constrict the blood flow to a certain part of the body, when you release it, you're going to get a flush of new blood, oxygen, circulation, and this is really vital to the health of our organs and to the health of keeping everything moving, like I said. So anytime we're bringing breath, we're bringing awareness, we're bringing love into these parts of our bodies, it's going to keep anything unwanted from creating a home. So again, stagnant energy is going to be the beginning of any kind of disease. And so we do not want to create a fertile environment for disease. We want to create a fertile environment for regeneration and the rejuvenation of ourselves and essentially of our spirits. So you guys are here. Your chin is in alignment with your chest. Now, arms are down. Allow the head to rotate all the way over that left shoulder. Here you can close the left eye and beam energy out the right eye. Even with this constriction of oxygen, you're going to see if you can get the breath up into the upper lungs to this space that we were feeling right below the clavicles. Good. Keeping the length of the spine, release the arms. The arms come all the way back up. Inhale, extend. Exhale, back to center. It's a nice high there. Inhale, extend the fingertips up. Exhale, slowly. Excuse me. Fingertips all the way down. Fingertips tap the earth. Extend the collarbones away from one another, lengthening, and then releasing. Good. So again, let's bring the left foot in front. So now we're going to hold on to opposite elbows and extend the humerus, so this upper arm bone, away from the body. Breathing into the back body. I like to use my fingers, grab onto this skin right here, right above my elbow, and pull it away from the body. And this is going to help send that signal. Inhale, the arms are going to come up. So you're seeing if you can create space from the bottom of the ribs all the way up to the center of the armpit. So let's focus on that first. Bottom of the ribs to the center of the armpit. Create length, and then take that space from the center of the armpit to the tip of the elbow, creating length there. With every breath, seeing if you can get the ribs to move side to side, right? And so naturally you would think on the inhale you'd find the expansion, on the exhale the ribs would come back in, but here we're going to see if we can keep that expansion even on the exhale. So 9 times we're going to come down, bring the elbows down. Inhale, come back up. So 1, 2. The whole time we're lengthening as we lift. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Inhale, extend. Exhale, switch the grasp, so you're going to have opposite forearm in front. Inhale, usually this is going to be the tighter side, so naturally we always go to one side first, and that usually indicates where there's a little bit more space. So for me, this feels really awkward. I have an injury on my left shoulder. So again, this aspect and this concept of Ishvara Pranidhana, self-study, self-inquiry. Inhale, extend the elbows away. Now see if we can extend, finding space from the tip of the elbows all the way to the bottom rim of the pelvis. Lengthening this line. Again, imagining this string that was just ever growing, right? Continuing to lengthen. The exhale will come down, and 9 times on this side. So inhale. Last one. Inhale, extend. Good. Now we're just going to straighten the arms, and we're going to bring the palms together. Press the palms together and extend the fingertips away from the tailbone. So gently pressing the arms together, you're going to feel this tonification happening all along the outer body. Inhale, look up to the fingers, up to the hands. Keep extending the fingertips away from the tailbone. Exhale, keep extending, slowly lower the arms all the way down. Again, fingertips tap the earth, extend the spine. Keeping the length of the spine. Back of the palms on the knees, and we're gently going to close the eyes. We're going to take 3 deep breaths here, imagining that your ribs are moving side to side. So if you imagined a big crystal pitcher, beautiful purified spring water, and you are pouring that water out, so pouring the water out like an exhale, that pitcher still retains its same shape. So the water being the breath. Inhale, we fill the pitcher. And on the exhale, even though the breath is coming out, we see if we can maintain that broadening, that space that we're looking for. So palms facing up, again, chin slightly tucked, extending from the crown of the head. Finding the softness in the front body. A slight upward tilt of the corners of the mouth. And you are welcome to stay here in meditation. It feels so nice to feel this space. It's like I feel like I could just sit for an hour, no problem, like this. But I want to respect your time. So if you're feeling it and you want to stay seated, I highly recommend that. If you'd like to seal the practice, we can go ahead and bring our palms together at the heart in Anjali Mudra. Taking a moment to acknowledge all that we have and all that we are, giving thanks to all that came before us to allow us to engage in this incredible practice called yoga. And I thank you for joining me, bringing the thumbs to the third eye. We bow in gratitude. Namaste. So I encourage all of you to do your own research on the thymus and to continue the work of creating more space for oxygen, prana, life force in your body. Please make any comments, questions below, and I'm excited to get to know you all and start practicing with you. So have a beautiful evening or day or morning, and I'll see you soon.